Welcome back. So now we can add addresses, but of course I also want to be able to delete addresses. So I want this button to work after this lesson right here. Now what we need is, of course, when we click this button, we need to know what's the address we're working with right now and how do we delete it. So we're jumping into the code and we're going to add something to our button right here for deleting. This guy, the trash icon right here for deleting. And there we're going to add a click event right here. Now we have to do a few things, but let's just start out by adding a delete function right here. And for now, let's start out with just sending in the actual address we want to delete. We'll make this even smarter in a second, but now let's start and create this function right here. We're going to need that function inside our code, right? So inside the code I'm going to add my new delete function, and there what do I need? Well, first of all I need to know the index of the address inside our addresses list, right? So I need an index, and I'll just do a const right here and say index to go and grab the index. And you on addresses on an array you can say index of to get the actual index. And here I'm going to look for the address, that's the one I'm passing in right now, and then I want to get the first, I want to start at the 0th position, so the first position of the actual index. And again, remember that this keyword or things won't work. There we go. So now I should actually grab the first from, I'm starting at position 0 and looking for the first address I can find that matches this address, and then I have the index. Then I can say if that index is actually not -1, because if I did not find the guy, then it'll actually return -1. So I'm just checking here, if the index is above -1, that means that I actually found what I'm looking for. I found the index that I'm looking for this specific address right here. If I did find that, you can use something called Splice. So I'll say addresses dot splice. Yes, that's just the name they picked. Splice. There's a reason they picked that, I can't remember, but you can go and look it up. So I'll say I want to splice or remove index at the position where my address is actually available, and then I want to grab one element from that index, right? So I only want to delete one from the index. So if it's 1, I'll take element at index 1 and just grab that element. I could also say I want to delete 3 after that element, but I only want to delete 1. There we go. So now this should actually go and delete the single address on that specific index. Let's see if this actually works right now. If I click the delete button, I deleted both. That's bad. The reason is that right now the buttons, they are actually propagating and doing what they normally should do. They're sending through the system and just running over and finding all the delete functions to actually delete everything in there. We need to kind of prevent this by explaining to the buttons, we do not want you to do as you normally do. We just want you to do this single delete. We don't want you to tell anybody propagation. We don't want anything except just deleting this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back to my HTML, and just like we did earlier, I can send in the event that the button is actually using to do this delete. Now we're going to do the same in the code, and in the code I'm going to just add this event right here as well. And then I'm going to say, dear button, when you get to this point, just stop doing what you normally do. So prevent default, I think that's the name, prevent, there we go. Prevent default, there it is. So we're saying to the button, don't do what you normally do, just only do what I ask you to do right here. So let's try and delete again. There we go. Now that's just another way, like we worked with propagation earlier. Now we can kind of say, when I click 1, don't start messing up my system and clicking other things and doing crazy stuff. I only want to delete that single item right there. So that's what I'm doing now. Click, delete, click, delete. Let's just see if it also knows the other way around. Click, there we go, and click. So the delete is working now.